Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. Super excited for the content today. We have some amazing speakers, and we are excited to share some of our post-peak playbook, how to keep holiday shoppers coming back. My name is Adina Marabi. I'm the Director of Partner Relations here at Okendo. Okendo is a customer marketing platform. We help brands turn their shoppers into super fans through our suite of products, which includes reviews, quizzes, loyalty, referrals, and surveys. A lot of exciting stuff today. I'm going to kick it off to all the different speakers, but today we are joined by Mike Manheimer, Chief Customer Officer at Postscript, Stacy Strom, Director of CRM and Lifecycle Marketing at Domain, Audrey Giblin, Strategy Manager at Stay AI, and Aaron Watt, Senior Tech Partner Manager at Triple Whale. Mike, we'll go ahead and kick it off to you first for a quick intro.
Awesome. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. My name is Mike. I'm Chief Customer Officer at Postscript. If you are not familiar with Postscript, we are an SMS platform for Shopify brands. A little bit over 25,000 Shopify stores use Postscript to maximize their revenue from their SMS channel. And if you haven't seen Postscript in a while, of course we have a full suite of SMS tools, automations, campaigns, etc., and increasingly have been adding in a conversational AI platform and the foundation. And so we're really excited about the future of messaging. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about that as it relates to the post BFCM rush. But really excited to be here and chat about the most important and exciting time of the year. So thanks for having me. And I'm excited to dig in.
Thanks, Mike. Stacy, passing it over to you.
Thank you. Excited to be here. Stacy Strom, Director of CRM and Lifecycle Marketing at Domain. Domain is the world's largest Shopify agency, and I run our marketing practice essentially, focusing mostly on email, SMS, and retention-owned channels, but really work closely with our e-com strategy, building, on-site personalization is at the core of everything we do, and not only enabling, digital transformation, but also really excited to dive in here today on things around AI orchestration and a lot of what we've been innovating within our practice as well. Thanks again for having me.
Thanks for joining. Audrey, quick intro.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Audrey, really excited to join today. I'm a strategy manager at Stay AI. Stay is a platform that powers brand subscription programs and really helps turn subscription into a performance channel. And my role is all about helping brands optimize every aspect of their subscription program. So excited to kind of chat about how to turn subscribers and purchasers into loyal fans of your brand and ultimately subscribers.
Awesome. And last but certainly not least, Erin, would love an intro from you as well.
Hi, friends. My name is Erin Watt. I am one of the tech partner managers over here at Triple Whale. And for those who are asking, what is Triple Whale? Well, Triple Whale was created because today's brands are just drowning in data, but they are starving for insights. And that is exactly where we come in. We are the e-commerce intelligence platform built for faster and more confident decisions. Most of those analytic tools out there are going to tell you what happened, where Triple Whale shows you why it happened, and more importantly, what to do next. And that is going to be the biggest difference between the raw data that you have and actual intelligence. And that's where we step in. So really excited to be here and to have the discussion with the crew today.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. We'll go ahead and dive into our first question for today. Once the rush of BFCM ends, where should brands immediately shift their focus to keep momentum going? And Mike, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I'll take this a little bit of a different direction. I want to contest the when the BFCM rush ends. I think the one thing that people do is they're like, oh, Cyber Monday's over, and now back to regularly scheduled programming. But what we tend to see is that December is like the second highest EPM driving month compared to November. And so what a lot of people do is they're like, oh man, cool, we're done with the holiday season and now we can get back to normal. But the December rush is totally real. And so what I would encourage people to think about, beyond trying to drive meaningful retention and growth with the people who came over the BFCM holiday, which I'm sure some of our other panelists are going to talk about, is to not stop running their November programs just because it's December. In fact, we ran a study on campaigns to try to see like when does the curve start to flatten on incremental growth in December, and we didn't see losses in efficiency until you get to 7 or 8 cents per subscriber in December. And so I think, where brands should immediately shift their focus to keep momentum going. I think one thing that should be on your list is what's the December version of our BFCM strategy, but the intensity shouldn't go down as much as we tend to see people do. Especially with consumers who are we know notoriously are expecting that they can shop for the holidays until December 23rd, right? So I would say keep your foot on the gas. I think if you pull your foot totally off, you're going to be leaving a lot of incremental buyers on the table.
It's great advice. Thank you, Mike. Aaron, we'll pass it off to you.
Yeah, so totally agree with Mike. The holiday rush does not stop after BFCM. The angle I'm going to take is definitely more on the retention and like retaining your customers after BFCM. So I know that most brands treat their entire Black Friday cohort as like one group and send everyone the same follow-up message, email. But a customer who's spending $150 from Google and bought multiple full price items or bundle deals is fundamentally going to be different from someone who spent $30 on a single deeply discounted product from something like a TikTok. So if you invest the same retention effort in both of groups of people, you are going to be wasting a lot of money on just lower value customers and also just maybe under investing in those like future better buyers. So in the week after BFCM, one good idea, there's a lot of different ways that you can segment your customers, but one way you could do it is segmenting new customers by acquisition channels. So just filtering for customers acquired between those months of November 28th and December 1st, then break them down by source. So you can do that through like Facebook or TikTok, Google, organic. And then you just want to be really looking at like the average order value by channel and how many bought multiple items versus single discounted products. So you'll immediately start seeing different patterns. Maybe your Google customers' average order values are 95, while TikTok average is about 42, or your email customers bought 2 to 3 times per order while paid social only bought one item. So this just tells you where value came from, not just value, the volume of it. And tools like Triple Whale can also help making these data points visible in minutes. So you're not building spreadsheets and waiting for reports as well too. The other nice thing too is that once you know which channels brought higher value customers, you can also build retention strategies that match customer quality. So your high AOV Googles and your email customers get those premium follow-up sequences focused more on product recommendations, maybe some exclusive access, while maybe some of those like lower AOV impulse buyers maybe get more of a standard campaign. And then most importantly, you also know where to allocate your even December and January acquisition budget. And you can really just double down on the channels that brought the customers worth keeping and not just customers who bought once during a sale.
Thank you so much, Erin, and totally agree on optimizing your ad spend. It's a huge tip, especially ahead of Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Great segue into Stacy. Do you want to maybe give us a bit of your insight on where things are shifting?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I agree with all of the points here from Mike and Aaron. We tend to treat the post BFCM time period as more going into late holiday, post-holiday shopping, and even January timeframe, depending on the industry or the type of client we're working with. But really, I think knowing who your customer is, to Aaron's point, how they're behaving, how they're navigating your site, what products they're engaging with, and really targeting them from a personalized a personalized cadence perspective as well as content. They're likely to be, BFCM new subscriber influx that is not going to be engaged long term or likely to churn at the, in a shorter lifespan than a typical subscriber during a non-BFCM period. So really treating that cohort differently, learning how they're engaging, and really basing your strategy for them specifically on how they're acting compared to your standard maybe control audience that's been on your list for longer. So again, more just about knowing who your customer is and really thinking about how they're engaging with you. But agreed with not taking your foot off the gas until the sales are done.
Stacy. Audrey, did you have some thoughts here as well?
Yeah, definitely. From a subscription perspective, I think there's two kind of important cohorts to think about during this time. And one would be obviously the customers who subscribed during these sales, and then also the customers that purchased but maybe didn't subscribe. And I really love how Erin and Stacey are both thinking about like segmenting these customers. And I think those customers specifically warrant different follow-ups to ultimately push them to subscription. But also kind of thinking about during this time, subscribers are looking for discounts customers are looking for discounts. So you might need to kind of message those people differently to upsell them into a subscription. But I really think for both of these cohorts, thinking about that messaging kind of should happen before BFCM even starts, just so that you have those flows in place. You've kind of tested and thought about that messaging strategy. So ultimately, customers are going through a flow that makes sense for them. And then also looking towards the customers that might have subscribed during this time, I think it's super important to layer in even more education about the benefits of the subscription program. Again, people are price sensitive, looking for discounts during this time. So any value that you're adding for subscribers outside of the discounts, whether that's free gifts, education, community, things like that, I think are important to like reiterate for these customers that came in during a period of sale.
Thanks, Audrey. And from the Okendo perspective, I think there's a big shift from acquisition to, insight gathering and retention. And it's important to leverage data that you're collecting across all of your channels when it comes to retaining and retargeting those customers. So using post-purchase surveys and quizzes to learn who your customers are, their characteristics, their preferences, their shopping behaviors, and then identifying segments that are worth nurturing. You can use Okendo specific data across, everything that we're collecting through reviews, quizzes, loyalty, referrals, and surveys, and use that to build segments in, let's say, PostScript or Klaviyo. And so that really helps, encourage your customer, makes them feel like you're personalizing those campaigns. And then maybe they're more inclined to join your loyalty program or refer a friend from there on out. All right. Next question. Brands have more customer data than ever, but most don't know where to even start. What data should they prioritize, and what signals indicate high value customers? And Erin, we'll actually start with you on this question.
All right. Well, I think we could all agree the problem isn't the lack of data. I feel like, if anything, all of us, we're drowning with a lot of data, and sometimes even the wrong data. So most brands tend to track everything, but they don't have a huge focal point. So keep it really simple, especially if you're just getting started. And there are a few different metrics that you can really focus on. So first would definitely be prioritizing repeat purchase rate. So like, what percentage of customers buy a second time? So, and maybe don't overthink the time frame yet. Just track if they come back at all within 12 months. And this will just kind of tell you if you have a retention problem or if you actually have an opportunity. The second would be looking into and tracking your average order value. Also, maybe break it down by first time versus repeat customers. So do repeat buyers spend more or less? This shows you whether your retention strategy is attracting high value loyalty, or is it just driving cheap repeat transactions? The next would be maybe measuring purchase frequency. So how many times per year does the average customer buy from you? So a customer who buys 4 times per year needs a completely different strategy from one that buys once. So this is just going to tell you, are you a special occasion brand or are you actually part of someone's routine? Another really good one is going to be looking at discount dependency. So what percentage of orders are actually using discount codes? And then you really want to separate those customers who only buy on sale from those who purchase at full price, because their lifetime value and even the profit contributions are going to be worlds apart. And then the last one really is to focus on those acquisition source quality. So your LTV by channel. So your lifetime value of customer acquired from a channel. A customer acquired from Google search often has a different intent than LTV from one on TikTok that does impulse buying. So knowing this just really helps you to allocate your budget smarter. Now, when it comes to identifying a high value customer, sometimes really the best insight comes from simply thinking like a shopper yourself. So think about it, like the behavior that you do when you're a loyal customer to a brand usually is the same thing that your customers are going to do when they love a brand. So what are those action points? You are going to buy again quickly, often within 60, 90 days, because you actually use and enjoy the products. You're going to spend above average, not because it's just a discount, but because you trust the brand's quality or you want to try more of what they offer. Or you're also not waiting for sales. You want to buy things at full price. Also, high value customers also tend to come from high intent channels like your search, your emails, referrals. Also, you're going to be someone who's engaging with your brand. So are these high value customers, are they opening emails, engaging with your content? Are they following you on socials? Because they see themselves as part of the community, not just part of a transaction. And honestly, even if a customer checks 3 of these boxes, they buy again within 90 days, they spend above average order, they are buying without discounts, they engage with your brand, they're going to be often worth 5 to 10 times more than the one-time discount shopper. So these are really the customers who are not only that are going to fuel your growth long after BFCM ends, and they're also going to be the ones that really stay loyal to your brand and just become easier to attract more customers just like them.
Thank you, Erin. And we'll pass it to you, Stacy.
I really like the framework that you were laying out there, Erin, for starting simple. I think one of the things we see across brands of all size and industries is having a clear definition of what those priority KPIs are and all speaking the same language. Whether that's, subscription brands, we work with a lot of clients that are defining what is active versus inactive versus just all of the different stages of a subscription life cycle versus a standard D2C customer life cycle. Really establishing the definitions and then what your priority, KPIs are based on your brand or, your goals specifically. From there, I think love the framework again, the simplicity of looking at all of the different KPIs, looking at how those vary across the different types of customers. And then really the next layer of that is finding the commonalities between that and understanding the behavioral pieces that are bringing multiple behaviors and that kind of pattern of engagement across your brand and those different events, whether that be product affinity, category affinity, really looking at what types of content they're engaging with, what channels, and really building your strategy against those different cohorts and how they're behaving separately. A lot of those KPIs that Erin spoke to, AOV and lifetime value being of some of the most critical, but always looking at of course top line revenue and incrementality as the beacon in most cases from my experience.
Thank you, Stacy. And Mike, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I want to focus on like most don't know where to start. Instead of focusing on the metric side, I really think about like the who part of it. And on the way to getting someone to be a high value customer, meaning they buy a lot, their LTV is really strong, and they're engaged over a long period of time, like you have to get to that first purchase. And so you have a million things you could potentially focus on. And one thing that we found to be true in our data all the time is that, like, somewhat depending on the time of year, somewhere between 25 and 30% of people who give you their SMS number buy something in the first 30 days. That's why SMS is a high ROI channel and people love it. But it also immediately begs the question that you're like, well, these people just gave this brand access to their most personal inbox on their most personal device, and then they're still there engaging with stuff and not buying. It's like 70% of the people that are converting up front. And so if you're completely overwhelmed by the data points and you don't know where to start, we always say, like, look, there's 70% of the people who converted through the pop-up didn't buy anything in the first 30 days, but they're still not unsubscribing. Maybe even they're engaging with some of your campaigns. Like, if you really want to hone in on one particular thing, like, a lot of the low-hanging incremental fruit is probably in that little bucket. And so, of course, there's a million different metrics you can look at to determine how effective you are at converting that group. But I usually think of people like, I don't know what to do next. Everyone's looking for incremental revenue anywhere they can. There's always that bucket of folks who said, fine, text me, but are just sitting there getting all your messaging and not actually buying stuff, and investing energy and trying to convert those folks is always, I think, a short path to getting a few wins on the board. And then I would say the next obvious question people ask is, like, when it comes to email or SMS or both, they're like, how do I know if I'm like over messaging? Like, how aggressive should I be with that group? We really pay attention to all the engagement metrics versus the D30 unsub rate. If people are staying on the list, and especially if they're engaging in it, like, they're telling you that they're fine being on these channels. And so, we have unsub benchmarks in our platform. As long as those unsub benchmarks are green and you're seeing CTRs that are strong, we tend to say, like, look, you want to try to move people through that conversion point. There's no point in them being on the list 2 years down the line and never having bought anything, right? That's just cost. And so we say, be as aggressive as you can without going above those unsub benchmarks. And that's usually, I think, the way to, like, find the sweet spot and focus on converting as many of those people as you can.
That's a really good point too, Mike. I mean, I rarely give my phone number to a brand unless it's like, I know I want those messages, or I want to know about their promotions, or I want to know about their latest drop. So it is a very important.
Yeah, we're all marketers, so I'm sure your guys' inboxes look like mine, where I'm subscribed to like 800 brands at once. That's not the way consumers are. Like, there's a real signal there if they give you their number.
Yeah, so true. So true. Thank you. Audrey, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I agree with everything that everyone said already about your highest value customers being the ones that you have already acquired or have already purchased from you. I think for subscriptions specifically, brands often overlook the data that you're collecting from the cancellation survey. I think those customers are even more valuable because they have committed to a subscription for your brand before. So really kind of digging into why a customer might have unsubscribed and using that to win them back, and segmenting out any sort of like win back campaigns or cancellation flows that you have based on those reasons. I think some of the highest value customers are ones that might have just canceled because they had too much product, or the timing just wasn't right. Maybe they weren't seeing those effects. And I think with the right offer, the right messaging, and at the right time, those customers can really be won back into your program. I also think that data is important too, and can kind of drive some of the efforts that you're doing on the acquisition side, and even like the initial touch points that you have with subscribers. Like, are you offering the right cadence? Are you educating the customer enough about the product, like leading up to that first renewal? But yeah, I think overall the cancellation data that you're collecting for people that have already purchased and already subscribed is super, super valuable.
Thank you. And yeah, on the Okendo side, I think where brands should look to prioritize collecting data, as well as what type of data, would be through quizzes and surveys. I think that really helps uncover shopper intent, shopper preferences, their needs, and just allow you to guide them through a shopping experience versus them just going on your website and figuring out what they want to buy. I think it also helps having that kind of zero party data, or being able to have something like a quiz, allows you to not only increase conversions, retarget those customers, but also increase your average order value, because someone who has the intent of buying just one item might buy a few more if they feel like those suggestions are tailored to them. You should also look for brand advocates within your happy and loyal customers. So taking a look at like customers who leave a review, and that review is positive, maybe you ask them to refer a friend and engage with your loyalty program. So it's really looking at like, where is the customer showing intent? What kind of data are they giving you? And where can you leverage that to ask for more, but in an organic way? All right. Next question of our webinar today is, once brands identify high level and high value customers, how can they actually use that data to drive smarter retention strategies? And I know we talked a little bit about this, but I'm hoping we can dive a bit deeper. And Stacy, we're actually going to start with you today.
Yeah, that sounds great. I think personalization is a broadly used term, and we've all I use it far too often too, I feel like, but I think going a layer deeper into personalization that follows the consumer across their entire commerce experience is really what I think the high value customer of tomorrow is looking for. Not using the data that you have available to you is one of the worst things I think you can do with your high value customer. They're giving you tons of data about what they're buying, what they're browsing, what they're engaging with on site and in your marketing channels, on your social streams, all of those things. That it's all data that if you're not using it, they're no longer going to be a high value customer. So, and allowing that to follow those personalized experiences, whether they be tiny, more than first name, but tiny, whether it's little announcement bars at the top of a website with a specialized promo, or, a little mini blurb of text in mini cart, whatever that those smaller, it doesn't have to be anything huge and monumental, but having those pieces follow you through the entire customer journey, and not having your high value customer come back to you repeatedly and you not recognize that it's them again. So again, really making sure you're using the data, continuing to collect and use more data about that high value customer, and obviously looking at lookalike audiences and how you can build out that high value cohort, while also testing into your different retention strategies, dynamic and personalized product recommendations and post-purchase series, different, post-purchase surveys. And we're doing a lot of that with subscription brands now, and really trying to go a layer deeper into like why cancellation reasons, and giving more and different options so that we can again gather different types of data that allows us to analyze that persona even further.
Absolutely. Segmentation is huge and very important. And you already have access to so much data as a brand, so you might as well leverage that to build very specific segments and campaigns. Which leads me to Mike. You probably have some insight on how brands can do that with SMS.
Yeah, totally. Stacey, I love what you just said. And it's kind of like a paradox of like the high value customers. It's like once you establish that they're high value and you ask them the questions to get the data, and then you don't use it, is almost like worse than you not even doing it in the first place. So like that's like the number one like cardinal sin is like people go, I'll just use an example, go in the pop-up and they say like, hey, are you shopping for like men's, women's, or both? And you collect that and it goes into the systems and it syncs down to all your tech and then never shows up anywhere. And then you hit them with the opposite thing. It's like there's a way to not only, we're talking about identifying high value customers, there's also a bunch of ways you can lose them. Those people have different expectations for what the experience is to be marketed to by your brand than just your average consumer. So I always tell people like the bar's on the floor to wow people, which is like an opportunity, but don't pick the bar up off the floor if you're not actually going to do anything with it, because then you're just going to kind of like expose yourself as being just like anyone else, and so you're kind of like not delivering on your promises there. So in this world of how to use data to drive smarter retention strategies, I really think it's all about the qualitative data versus the quantitative at this stage. Because of that, these people want to know that you actually care about them, you actually understand their preferences. And so zero party data collection, you could do it in pop-ups, you could do it post-purchase survey, you could do it in conversational messaging. Now that AI is making that possible, we're seeing lots of people get this amazing context in the conversation. Whereas people used to go on Google and search, t-shirts for warm weather. Now they're going on to, your brand's, short code and saying like, hey, I'm going to be in, Cabo for a few days at like a semi-formal wedding. I'm looking for like these types of pieces. Do you have any like casual and then, day to night stuff that would make sense? The amount of context that people are giving in conversations over text because they know an LLM will give them a really good answer back is insane. And so being able to harness that to demonstrate that you know something about them is a quick way to actually deliver like a good relevant experience. And now that we have AI at our fingertips, that's actually possible now. But yeah, I think it's all about the qualitative data. How can you continue to demonstrate that you know who this person is, you know what they're looking for beyond just, hey, I see you bought 5 things and here's what they were. What does it mean? What's the context? And so finding ways to capture that context and then build it into your programs, I think is like the next frontier where brands can really like show their muscles here.
Absolutely. I'm thinking back to moments where I was texting with a brand asking if they had a specific size back in stock, or when they were expecting to get that back in stock. And I think even that alone is such valuable data because the brand then knows, right? Like I'm going to text her when we do have it back in stock, and maybe I'll recommend an adjacent item or a complementary item that might look really good with
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, and that's what I mean with the bars on the floor. Like if you just do that, like someone says, "Oh, notify me when I'm back in stock," just actually doing that like puts you in the top 1% of all brands just right away. Let alone being able to do something like make a great recommendation on top of it. So lots of opportunity here if you can really harness this data.
100%. Cool. Audrey, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the personalized product recommendations are key also within your subscriber base. Like, I think a lot of brands get excited, like you acquire a subscriber, great. But at that point, like you really should empower your subscribers to continue trying different things, adding one-time products, exploring other stuff within your catalog. And one thing we've been looking at a lot recently is like using that performance by product to drive smarter retention strategies. So we see a lot of brands around this time with starter packs or variety packs, or really trendy flavors. And those products perform really well to acquire subscribers, but they tend to have lower retention rates. And you can really drill down into performance by product within Stay or whatever subscription platform you're using. We also see a lot of variance across like flavors, for example. So yeah, just kind of looking into your product performance, like what's crushing it at checkout, what's really bringing people in the door, but then giving customers those recommendations. And again, just empowering them to swap to something else that has a higher retention rate and will keep them subscribed for longer.
Thank you. And Erin, what's your take here?
Okay, so I'm definitely going to take a bit from Stacy and Mike when it comes to keeping it simple, like Mike said. Like they're giving you like the easiest data to take from and to then personalize your offers or that personalized messaging campaigns. And then Stacy's when it comes to lookalike audiences. So if you have data that shows customers that bought a certain product have a much higher lifetime value, you can use that data to create lookalike audiences and find similar shoppers. Well, even while you're doing that, then you can, be providing some like other perks and stuff to your loyal customers, but you can be concentrating on your campaigns and those target list on the lookalike audiences from the data that you have of like your high lifetime value customers, right? So I mean, I can only really speak to Triple Whale and how we do things, but like in tools like Triple Whale, you are able to build up customer segments based on any criteria. So whether it's like customers with LTV over a certain threshold, or those who've made a repeat purchase within 60 days, or buyers who are buying specific products. And then once you've identified your high value segments, you can export those customer lists directly from tools like Triple Whale and upload those into your ad platforms like your Facebooks and your Googles, and then you can create lookalike audiences. So this means that you're not even guessing who to target. You are actually using purchase behavior and revenue data to tell Meta and Google, find me more people who look like my best customers. And then another really easy win is one that I'm going to take from Okendo, because I know Adina was talking about reviews with the last question. But a really cool thing is that when you also connect tools like Okendo and Triple Whale, you can also identify high LTV customers who are also leaving 5-star reviews and then proactively reach out to turn them into brand ambassadors through referral programs or loyalty rewards. So, and in addition to that, you can also like review data with customers and lifetime values to also help you spot patterns. So whether customers who leave reviews have like higher retention rates, you can also incentivize more reviews as part of your retention strategy. So really the goal here is to move beyond just collecting reviews and actually using that voice of customer data to inform who to reward, what to promote, and then also how to build the community around your brand as well too. So a few different ways that you can actually utilize the data that you have, and make it easier for yourself.
Absolutely. And I feel like my answer is kind of tying in what everyone has said already, which is, take the data that you're collecting across each of your channels, whether it's subscription or reviews or SMS or email or loyalty programs, quizzes, surveys, everything that you're building and ramping up as far as data, take that and utilize it for personalized messaging, and provide offers as well. So using a quiz or survey to uncover customer characteristics and preferences, and then tailor the experience of your brand around each customer, creating that motivation to buy from you, creating the urgency to buy from you, and then rewarding your most loyal customers to keep them engaged and coming back. So think exclusive product drops, maybe early access to sales, double points for loyalty members or your loyalty anniversary. So just different ideas, different ways in which you can offer perks and make customers feel valued while also encouraging that repeat purchase and higher customer lifetime value. All right, we have a couple of questions left. Going a little bit more into the post-purchase personalization route, how can brands use that channel, so post-purchase channel, and post-purchase personalization to strengthen long-term relationships rather than just driving that, quick sale? And Mike, we'll start with you.
Awesome. I'm going to give a very SMS specific answer to this one. And this is like, I think the most underexplored SMS use case, but think about this. What type of text from a brand is the one that's like the most delightful to get? It's the one that's like, your order's being delivered in 30 minutes. And like that's the text that everyone wants. You already bought something, you're waiting for it. It's going to show up at your door that day. You say, yeah, give me the minute by minute updates because I really want this thing. And then it's there. Like those texts are the ones that like everyone wants 100% of the time. And it like leads to, there's also this like really awesome, like real world moment that happens as a result where they get it. And so when you think about post-purchase with text, like a very, very simple thing that we've seen people like crush with this is they get the thing, you have a wait step in your SMS flow for, call it, a day, 2 days, whatever you think it takes to really get your hands on the product that they got. And simply ask them a question afterwards. Like, be like, hey, 2 days ago, you got the thing. What do you think about it? Are you like having challenges with it? What do you like it? Is it meeting your expectations? ask an open-ended question. And the types of responses that you get back will be like insane. It'll blow your mind. Like your next best like creative that you should test in Meta, or the next best product idea that you should have for your team is going to come from those conversations 100%. See this time and time again, because people will tell you all sorts of things about your product after that. And then obviously, like, do this with Okendo or you're a review provider of your choice, whatever it might be. When people go, actually, I love the product. It met my expectations perfectly. Some people like send you back a picture of them wearing the item and being like, this looks awesome on me. It's like free UGC. Then tell them, cool. Like, can we request a review from you to syndicate to our review provider or UGC that we can, use and add? It's just a treasure trove of key information. And we already know that like when someone texts you back as a brand, like the hurdle for them to do that, like they're like 25% more likely to buy more things from you and stay subscribed to the long term. So you're creating that high value experience. But what's the next logical step? Most people are like, what'd you think of the product? They're like, it was great. And they're like, cool, thanks, bye. It's like, that's a UGC submission. That's a review submission. That's a recommendation for the next thing. It's like, oh, if you liked it that much, like, do you know anybody who you think would also love this? This is great for gifting. Like, what's the next logical thing to do? I think that if most brands like they always think about SMS starting like, okay, welcome series and on. If you like just changed your mind to be like, maybe the starting point of my SMS strategy is once I delivered the thing that they bought, like that's step one. Now, what would I do next? There's an insane amount of meat on the bone there that like literally almost nobody does. Like, even I hate to say this with the Okendo integration that PostScript has, it is so fully featured. You could do literally anything with PostScript and Okendo together. People underutilize this massively. It's like such a waste. There's so much opportunity there. And so, yeah, I think, start from the best text you could send, the things at your door. Now what? I think you'll probably come up with a lot of really good ideas on how to make people feel really valued.
Absolutely. And Mike, it's so true. I feel like sometimes brands don't know the full capacity of the integrations that are provided to them across their product suite, their tech stack. So I would definitely recommend, reaching out to your providers and seeing how they integrate with each other. Audrey, passing it off to you.
Yeah. I love everything Mike just said, and I actually think that's a really great time as well to push a customer into subscription if they haven't already subscribed. I think just in thinking about how to strengthen the relationship with customers, obviously subscribers are super valuable customers, but it's important to consider kind of when you're upselling them to subscription. I don't think it necessarily makes sense to do that right after they purchase, but like once they've gotten the product in their hands, once they've engaged with your brand saying they actually do love the product, I think that's a great time to include that upsell, obviously not just for the discount, but for all the other benefits that you get for being a subscriber. And then also including some like personalized recommendations about other products that they could test on a subscription. So maybe let's take like a supplement brand, for example, like maybe they're subscribed to your protein powder, but you know that if they take the creatine with that, like they're going to see exponentially better results. So it's not only about like the timing of when you're upselling them to subscription, but also about what you're upselling them to subscription with, and really building that kind of like conversational and educational relationship with the customer.
Absolutely. And Erin, what's your take here?
Yeah, very similar to what everyone is saying. We really do not want the post-purchase experience to be all about bombarding customers with buy again emails. Because when someone buys from you, you've just learned what they cared about. And that is your opportunity to build trust and not just push another transaction. You really want to build that loyalty with that customer. And that really comes back down to, looking at your segments and then looking at your personalization. And when you're utilizing tools like your Klaviyo's and your PostScripts, like you can automatically insert the exact product they purchased into your emails or your SMS, and then using dynamic content blocks. So if someone just bought blue sneakers, size 10, your follow-up email will show those exact sneakers with care tips, They could be styling suggestions or, as mentioned, like even complimentary product recommendations, not just generic content. And then the cool thing too is that when you're taking your email and your SMS platforms, and then you're also integrating those into your analytic platforms, now you're going to be layering another layer of richer personalization so that you can tailor that message even more. So now you can even talk about how they might have found you, or even when you look at where you're placing your content as well too, you can also better understand their lifetime value or even just their engagement across channels. And you can do that without having to do all the manual work. So you just want to really utilize these tools to create those really thoughtful touch points at even natural intervals. So like, having a how's it going message check-in at 7 days, or maybe more educational content at 14, or maybe a feedback request, so doing the reviews at like 30 days. And then also just tracking those metrics like your open rates, your click-through rates, your repeat purchase timelines. And then from there, you're also able to kind of just adjust your messaging based on behavior, and not just the time since purchase. So when customers feel seen and supported after they buy, they don't just come back. They really do become advocates for your brand. And that's really how you're going to start turning those like $50 one-time order customers into more lifetime relationships.
Absolutely. Converting one-time buyers into high value customers is super, super important. Cool. I think Stacy, you're up next for this one.
Yeah, I think just to double click on what we talked about, or I believe everybody mentioned it here about underutilized tech stack and your MarTech stack specifically. We work with so many clients who don't have all of their, different tools and functionality integrated to be able to even utilize the data properly. To your point with Postscript and Okendo, even things as we're looking at our, on the website, Nosto product recommendations, for example, is commonly one we never see connected to a Klaviyo platform where you can really do product recommendations based on a segment. You can do search abandoned retargeting within email. There's so many ways to interconnect your all of these different great vendors and platforms and functionality to really bring a cohesive experience. And in the post-purchase experience, I think that's where it's the most critical, right? Using the data you have, gathering more data. I loved everything you said about conversational SMS, Mike. That's been a game changer for so many brands we work with. And Aaron, the content strategy you were mentioning, I think the further you get away from the actual first purchase per se, the more you need to kind of build that brand affinity, build the why behind your product, really understand the motivating factors of that given consumer and the cohort that they're in, and make smarter, more targeted decisions accordingly.
Absolutely. Thank you. And since we only have a couple minutes left, I'm going to jump to the last question, which is a little bit more reflective as well as like looking into the future. So as we move into 2026, which is right around the corner and insane for me to say out loud, what will separate brands that truly retain customers from those that don't? And Stacy, we'll start with you on this one.
Yeah, it's actually really related back to what we've all talked about today and what I was just mentioning too. Really embracing your tech stack, really getting the most out of your data, making sure you're utilizing it. But in this new age of AI, really understanding how that fits into your business model. We're working with a lot of brands, and we've kind of coined the term AI orchestration, right? It's not about how AI replaces any given functionality within your business. It's how you orchestrate the use of it across your disciplines to bring efficiency and innovation and personalization at scale. We're working with a lot of brands on a kind of a complete digital transformation as we do, enterprise level migrations to Shopify. We're also looking at, the entire MarTech stack. How is that integrated? How are you getting the most out of all these features and functionality that we talked about today? So really kind of embracing these concepts, really, learning more about your customer, being flexible, continuing to evolve your strategies to adapt to an ever-changing world. Having been in email marketing for probably longer than I'd like to say on this public live webcast now. But you know, it's a changing landscape and always has been, but even more so now with, you know, the use of AI and all of the great features and functionality out there that every platform is evolving into. So it's really that orchestration of all of those capabilities and data.
Thank you. And Mike, what
Yeah,
about
I'll
you?
I'll, I'll come with an SMS specific recommendation. Obviously, it's going to be AI related, but the way that AI is impacting SMS usage, I think, is a little bit unique. SMS is the only automatically, whether you want it to be or not, automatically two-way channel natively. It's just an open protocol where anyone can text you back anytime. And AI is changing the way consumers interact with brands. It's changing the way consumers interact with text boxes on the internet. Now, if there's a place where they can put text in, they believe that they should get a delightful, personalized, instant response that's as good as, you know, whatever LLM they're choosing to use. And so, when we think about what does that mean for SMS usage and retention on SMS usage in the future, is we think that's going to be the bar that subscribers are going to be asking brands to do. And SMS is a great beachhead for that. Your short code or your toll-free number is kind of like a mini chat GPT in the pocket of every single one of your brands. And I think the real question to answer is like, when they engage with you the way that they now expect to engage with internet tools, what are they going to get back? Are they going to get a no reply email, email us at from the text channel? Are they going to get a like click 1, 2, 3, or 4, or are they going to get a fully like native, amazing on brand conversational experience? And I think the brands that meet consumers where they are and hurdle that bar to deliver a chat GPT level or better experience over their open text channel are going to win a lot of new customers. They're going to win a lot of high value customers. They're going to retain their customers better over SMS than people who don't do that. And I really think that's where consumer expectations are going as it relates to conversational AI. We're obviously focused on delivering a tool set that helps people meet that without breaking the bank and needing to hire a whole staff. We're trying to do that in an automated way, and we're really excited about where we're headed. But I really think that consumers' expectations are changing rapidly, and we need to think about what does that mean for the channels that we own, and how do we show up in a way that's going to make sense for them. And I think that that's going to be what 26 is all about.
I love it. That's 100%. I couldn't agree more. Erin, what are your thoughts here?
Consumers, what they need, just like Mike mentioned, like they're changing and their expectations are higher than ever, and their demand is now, and they need it quick. And because of that, as both, you know, Stacy and Mike mentioned, 2026 is going to be really, you know, the year where AI, I think, is what brands are going to need to excel. And more specifically, brands that are utilizing AI agents to help to unlock more personalization at scale and to also respond to customers' needs in real time. So really, the key differentiator won't be how much data you have anymore. It is really going to be about the ability to transform that data into meaningful action for each customer. So AI, so I'm just going to be speaking more about AI agents. So AI is going to be really that general technology that can help to like think and learn, while the AI agent can autonomously take action and use tools to complete the tasks for you. So, you know, even here at Triple Whale, we have AI agents like Moby that work just 24/7, analyzing patterns, answering complex questions, surfacing insights that would take hours to find manually, like identifying when loyal customers are quietly disengaging, for instance. So in 2026, the brands that build lasting customer relationships will be using intelligent automation to deliver the right message to the right person, and especially at the right moment. And it's really cool because with agents right now, there's so many different things that you can utilize them for, especially before BFCM, during BFCM, and even after. You know, easy example is that you can have an agent help you with your retention intelligence partner, and you can be asking them which holiday customers haven't repurchased, or show me a high value customer with declining engagement, and then get those instant answers about ask-risk segments and also retention opportunities that you can act on really early. So yeah, I definitely am also agreeing so that the future is AI for 2026.
The future is AI. You heard it here. Audrey.
Yeah. From a subscription perspective, I think brands that really create value outside of just the subscription discount are the ones that are going to be winning at least subscriber retention. And I think that at the center of that is layering in all of like the personalization and segmentation that we've been talking about today to improve the subscriber experience specifically. So that's like personalized product recommendations, smart cadences, ultimately things that just make the customer feel like you're listening to them and that the subscription that they're paying for is working for them. And also like positioning the product at the center of their routine or a community, again, just to extend the benefits outside of like the tangible discount that they're receiving for purchasing their product on subscription.
Cool. And I'll go ahead and round things out. I think brands that create a seamless customer experience across all of their tools, all of their tech stack, are the ones that will really stand out. Customers stay loyal when every interaction feels connected, it feels easy, it feels personalized, it doesn't feel like, they're siloed in a way. So they will keep coming back, they will keep engaging with you, and they will turn into loyal brand advocates. Thank you to the speakers. Thank you to the attendees. That concludes our webinar for today.